need to take a brain break from the week I just had. I'm the level of tired where you close your eyes at a red light. I have to speak? I'm Franco, and I've spent a lot of my life learning languages, but I am admitting today that I am rusty in many of them. When you don't use a language, you lose it. Error. Damn it. Adverb, what's that? Prepositions? There's something romantic to me about the struggle. Every single time I learn a new language or about a new culture, I learn that I didn't know anything at all. And it's intoxicating, it's addicting, to be honest. And so I asked myself, well, what would happen if every single month of the year I dedicated each month to a language? And I'm gonna be doing just that on this channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I wanna make films about how language and culture affect how we connect to ourselves, to ideas, and to other people around us. But before we get to the language-specific challenges, I wanted to see what it would look like to live a week in a bunch of different languages. Cue day one. Je suis nerveuse. Aujourd'hui, c'est le premier jour depuis longtemps que j'utilise mon français. Et j'ai choisi le français parce que c'était une langue que j'utilisais beaucoup dans mes 20 ans, mais maintenant, mon français n'existe plus. Ok, maybe it does. Je suis impressionnée maintenant. Day one, I'm learning. What? First days first. Mesdames et messieurs, ça va être difficile. When I came to Belgium and I realized I was not living in the French part, I basically just stopped speaking French because I knew that my brain cells were necessary for this Dutch possibility that became a reality. Whenever I start learning a new language, one of my first things is to find a guide, find a tutor, someone that can point me in the right direction because I'm like a toddler. I literally don't know anything about what's what. I'm using a Preply tutor. Preply is the sponsor of today's video, and they've always been a part of my language journey, even before we started working together on a sponsorship. I know my weaknesses. I know that I'm probably not gonna carve out the time, and so I book things in my schedule. I usually book recurring lessons. But one of my favorite parts about Preply tutors is that you can find language tutors from all over the world. So you can go into these specific dialects, you can find locals that live in specific countries, and you can tailor the schedule of your lessons and the budget to what works for you. This is one-on-one tutoring. It's gonna be tailored to how you learn and the conversations you actually wanna have. So I found my tutor. Sandra, elle est française. She messaged me on Preply in a bunch of different languages, which I'm already starting to love this experiment because while I'm nervous because my French is quite bad, I do know that this was going to introduce me to a bunch of cool people around the world who know how special it is to learn language. Je suis claire! And that's going to be the problem. Okay, we're late. Oh God. Wish me luck.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Ça va?
Oui, ça va. Et toi?
Oui, ça va, merci. Tu as passé un bon week-end?
Oui, waouh, on va direct dans la conversation.
Ah bah oui. Non?
Oh oui, c'est mieux. On a 25 minutes, donc il faut faire le maximum possible. Je veux dire que ça fait longtemps que j'utilise pas mon français, donc je vais faire des petites erreurs et je vais parler le néerlandais, je crois.
Ah, tu vas mélanger.
Oui.
Tu as un accent incroyable en français.
Merci.
On remarque pas d'accent différent d'étrangers. Tu parles comme un français. Je suis allée.
C'est le français de la rue, un peu.
Oui.
Speaking is also entre guillemets in quotes because it's hard to say that you speak a language to fluent proficiency. But my whole take on it is, can you have a conversation? Can you share a laugh? Can you connect? That is my marker of what it means to be fluent. And it's not always easy. J'ai besoin de la confiance avec mon français parce que je me doubt,
je me questionne parce que je trouve que tu t'exprimes très bien et en plus tu n'oublies pas. C'est difficile de pas oublier quand tu arrêtes de travailler une langue.
Is it just me, or if you have a language in your brain for many years, you're able to go longer without using it and it doesn't go away? But if you learn a new language this year and you never use it again, it's gonna be very tough. Ok, je veux un challenge pour cette semaine.
Oula.
Est-ce que tu as un challenge pour moi?
Bah, toi déjà, comme tu parles déjà bien français, il faudrait peut-être te concentrer sur les expressions françaises. Une expression avec un fruit, un légume. En français, on a beaucoup d'expressions avec des fruits, des animaux. On a vraiment des expressions très bizarres.
Ok, je peux utiliser ça. Merci Sandra, c'était très cool.
Et bah avec plaisir.
À demain. It was still day one and I realized this challenge, this whole year of living a multilingual existence would actually be a great excuse to reach out to all of my favorite people that I've met around the world who have helped me improve my language, who are genuinely just fun friends. Bonus!
Et donc, est-ce que tu connais une autre expression avec un fruit ou un légume? Oh my god, my friend Yasmina knows all of it. Avoir la pêche ou avoir la patate. LOL. Why are there so many expressions with fruits and vegetables? Ces expressions sont trop drôles. Merci.
I already knew day 2 was going to test my linguistic ability because I started off the day with a French class with Sandra, but what I didn't expect was that in that French class, I will be speaking all kinds of languages.
Et je vais l'assister. Oui, je vais le regarder. Ja, waarom zeg ik assister? Like, pourquoi est-ce que je dis assister? Assistir! Oh my god, mais non!
You think you have a grip on what's happening in your brain, and then all of a sudden you say a word that has nothing to do with where you are. And also it's so cool to see how the Dutch isms, my like Flemish isms, sneak in whether I try to have them in or not.
Simple, chill dingen.
I noticed when I'm speaking in English, I'll say yeah, 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 and people will say like, are you German? I'm like, nee. So strange. At one point, I didn't have Dutch in my brain, and it was happening with another language. And now Dutch has taken front and center space in my brain, and it's making it very hard for me to speak French, which is a language I used to be very good at.
Oh, j'ai aussi une classe de néerlandais aujourd'hui, donc ça va être difficile.
After my French lesson, I go into Preply to leave her a 5-star review. 5 stars, a lovely teacher, highly recommend. She's funny, personable, willing to tailor the lessons to your needs. And all of a sudden, check your level. I want to check my level. You can now take a placement exam with Preply. Don't give me a good test. Los perros están en el jardín.
Your girl's in a Spanish wormhole.
Wow, I miss Spanish. Las próximas 6 preguntas son un poco más difíciles. Oh shoot. Eres un crack. Vamos a hacer 6 más. I have to speak? Oh my god, I'm recording. Hola, me llamo Joana y soy brasileña, pero crecí en los Estados Unidos. Ahora no estoy practicando ni hablando español. Lo más difícil es de cambiar entre idiomas. Oh, God. Level intermediate B1.2. I gotta work on my Spanish. Damn. And then right after lunch, the moment happened. The moment that always happens, but it usually happens a little bit later in the week. This time it came sooner. There's a familiar fatigue that I feel right now, and that's my brain slowly trying to process. Oh my God. I'm wiped. And it's only Tuesday. Every language learner knows this feeling. Everything is peachy. And then all of a sudden you're on the couch like a squashed potato. Je suis une patate sur le canapé. If anybody's out there learning a language, are you exhausted? Let me know. I can't be the only one. This happens every time. But despite my paralyzing fatigue, I had to get my booty off the couch and get on my bike because it was time for my Dutch class. And my teacher is one of the toughest teachers I've ever met. This woman does not settle for anything less than excellence. She is not someone you go to when you're tired. The thing about my Dutch is that I started learning actively really about a year ago when I moved to Belgium, when I moved to Flanders. But then I reached a plateau, and I knew that the only way to get over the hump was to turn up the heat.
Ik kan meer video's maken om de verbetering te tonen. En...
Ja, maar bij jou gaat er niet veel verbetering zijn, want het is al goed.
Dat is niet juist. Elke dag.
Dat is niet waar.
See, there you go. Dat is niet waar. So I found this like taalcoach, this actual language coach, so she can micro fix, like with a tiny laser drill, what is wrong with my Dutch. Dat weet ik niet.
We hebben dat ook al geleerd.
Dat was moeilijk. Ik heb dat in het laatste moment gedaan.
Op het laatste moment.
Op het laatste moment.
Waarom heb je hier een kleine letter geschreven? Het is een beetje vreemd om
het heeft geen zin, ja.
Niet, het heeft geen zin, het houdt geen steek.
Wauw, we zijn al 20 minuten aan het filmen. Mijn brein met jou is altijd like... Ik zei dat jij een van de strengste leerkrachten dat ik ooit in mijn leven heb gehad. Maar in
een van de strengste leerkrachten
bent dat ik ooit in mijn leven heb gehad.
Die ik ooit in mijn leven
heb ik een Antwerpse accent of een vreemd accent?
Je hebt een combinatie van alles.
Een combinatie van wat?
Jij hebt sommige Engelse klanken zoals jouw
wat.
Wat.
Ja, I know, dat weet ik. Wat?
En dan heb je een paar dialecten woorden daartussen, zoals
niet
of dag. Maar het is fantastisch, hè? Jij hebt eigenlijk een supergoeie uitspraak.
Just finished my Dutch lessons. It was rough, man. It was rough. That same day, I had to go to the grocery store to actually buy food, and I ended up taking the challenge Sandra gave me of looking for fruits and vegetable idioms in French. Got my props for my vocab. Avoir un cœur d'artichaut, être dans les choux, mettre du beurre sur les épinards, se tenir au jus, tomber dans les patates, avoir la banane. I get it. And funny enough, saying the idiom with the vegetable in my hand did help. It was like a device to memorize. And going and seeing and touching the fruits and vegetables, I bought them all, okay? I bought them all. Oh God, not my poireaux. Somehow I survived day 2 and day 3 came and I actually didn't plan any lessons because I didn't feel like I could handle it. I had to sleep 9 hours last night. Exhausted. Absolutely knackered, as my British friends would say.
And this morning I woke up and I was like, bonjour, okay, ça va être cool. Like I started already thinking in French, which means it's working. Of course, it's only day 3, so I don't want to exaggerate, y'all. I don't want to exaggerate, but stuff is moving in my brain.
Do I bread or not bread? I'm not breading. Staying strong today. I just gotta go back for the bread. We get a chocoladebroodje. I knew I had to edit, I knew I had to get some stuff done on my computer, but that didn't mean that I was off the hook. So usually when I get to my office, I make coffee and listen to an English podcast, but today it's gonna be French. So the trick to staying consistent with studying is doing what you do in your language in a different language. So because I know I want to study my French, instead of listening to like a regular American English podcast, I'm gonna listen to the same kind of podcast, like a news, current events podcast, but in French. And while it's not my normal comfort, it is like I'm getting the same fix, it's just in a different language.
Rappelait les coupures d'électricité courantes à Porto Rico, une sorte de paysage portoricain sur scène avec voilà, ces chants qu'on peut trouver à Porto Rico.
Day 4 came and the spice levels were turned up even more. Goedemorgen and bonjour. I'm about to take a train 50 minutes to Brussels. My French teacher challenged me to go to a French-speaking part here in Belgium and go find expressions that are uniquely Belgian French. Donc je suis ici toute la journée et je parle que l'anglais parce que tout le monde ici parle anglais.
On peut parler français, hein, moi ça
oui,
va, ou anglais, espagnol.
Ok, et mon français c'est un peu néerlandais, c'est like la mélange.
On va y arriver.
Another Belgicism unlocked. À tantôt.
C'est un belgicisme et ça veut dire à tout à l'heure. Ou alors dans peu de temps. À tantôt, à tout à l'heure.
One of the reasons I put myself through all of the linguistic struggle is because I believe learning languages is the ultimate connector. It connects us to other people. So while I was in Brussels, I did something a little bit crazy. I put this story up on my Instagram and asked strangers to come meet me at a bar, and no one was coming until this happened.
Salut, ça va? Chin chin, chin chin. Santé. I thought no one was gonna come. Hello. Nice to meet you. Elenida. Okay.
Did I learn some new expressions? You damn skippy that I did. Day 5, I was tired, I was alive, and I needed to take a little bit of a step back and just answer some messages on my phone, which is when I realized that I actually don't have to try hard to speak many of these languages, I just gotta answer my texts. Oi, gente, bom dia! Today, my language practice, it's informal, as all of these days are, but I'm gonna send family a voice note in Portuguese. Se eu quiser criar conteúdo de novo, se eu quiser aprender idiomas, se eu quiser viver uma vida assim interessante, não vai dar pra ter as duas coisas, porque eu vou tá dando o pior dos dois lados. Probably made a few mistakes, but no worries on that. Day 6, I actually had no language plans because I was fried by that point, but I ended up getting into a taxi, and next thing you know, I'm full-blown in a conversation in a different language.
¿Qué parte de Estados Unidos?
Cerca de New York.
Cerca de New York. Frío, me imagino.
Frío como aquí, pero con más sol. Aquí no hay sol. Soy morena, pero después de un año aquí voy a...
A volverte blanca.
Sí, voy a volverme blanca.
By day 7, I figured I needed a reward. So over the weekend, I made Italian pasta from my Italian friends. Her and her mom are excellent chefs, and they helped me organize a retreat. Everybody from that retreat left with an Italian recipe for homemade pasta, and we made ravioli. So now I have to remember how to speak Italian. Ciao Simo, volevo solo dire grazie perché ho fatto la ricetta dei ravioli, quello che abbiamo fatto insieme. Ho fatto uno dei spinaci e ricotta e l'altro con specchi e funghi. Sono stati buonissimi e mi mancate.
Gio, ma siete stati bravissimi, ma bravi. Questi ravioli sono meravigliosi, secondo me saranno stati anche buonissimi. Un abbraccio grande a te.
Did the experiment work? You let me know down in the comments. I don't know. I feel like it did work because I was able to reconnect to some of these languages and cultures. What I also think is cool is that you don't actually need to get on a plane to travel. You could just go find pockets of places where languages are spoken. You could pull up a recipe, you could pull up a podcast, and you could immerse yourself wherever you are in the world. This year, my goal is simple. I want to reconnect to languages that I am dusty in. I want to learn new ones from scratch, get into cultures that I maybe never even thought of, to learn some wisdom that we could all take to live a more connected life. And I want to share all of my insights with you, learn about learning, because even though we're in the age of AI and people are losing their connection with this gritty work, I figured I want to dive headfirst into the gritty work and show you what it looks like. What language and culture do you think I should feature this year? And also give me some recommendations of what countries to go visit to test these languages out. Ciao gente, arrivederci, saluches. Au revoir. I decided that instead of just saying I would have this multilingual life, I would actually put my brain cells where my mouth is. That sounds very strange.
Mon français est dans la poubelle.
Ik herinner me dat helemaal niet meer. As adults, we have very few moments where we choose to become beginners, and I think there's a lot of wisdom in the ugly beginning stages.
This is a challenge I love because it's making me connect to people that I miss and that I love and that are global and cool and speak different languages.